That's Brandon Chapman, senior catcher for the Sailors, and he works hard day in and day out. I'm Shelby Shea, and I'll have that story coming up on Game On Profiles.
Finishing up an outstanding career and playing for the Venice Indians is senior point guard Dillon Marksbury. Dillon always gave his all on the court, and we'll find out about his basketball days at VHS. Leading off for the Riverview Rams is senior Alissa Jackson. Alissa has been on the varsity for all 4 years, and she has done her best on the field for the Lady Rams. We'll meet her and her head coach and find out why the game is such a big part of her life. All of those stories on this edition of Game On Profiles, and we kick off now.
There you go.
That's 6 feet.
Get out, don't walk.
There you go.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Game On Profiles, where you get the chance to meet some of the outstanding student athletes from our Sarasota County District High Schools. I'm Maverick Johnson. The Sarasota Sailors baseball team is having another outstanding season. One reason for their success is a senior. He is Brandon Chapman, their starting catcher for the past 3 seasons. Brandon plays a big role in the Sailors lineup, and baseball is helping him to go into college and continue his dream of one day playing pro ball. Our student reporter, Shelby Shea, talked with Brandon and his head coach about his career at SHS and his bright future.
That's Brandon Chapman. He's a senior and the starting catcher for this season's SHS Sailors, and he loves playing ball for his high school team.
Oh, it's like an adrenaline rush. I mean, everyone's out there, want to impress everybody, and I mean, it's the game I love. I eat, sleep, baseball.
Not only is Brandon great on defense, he's the Sailors' cleanup hitter.
I'm a power hitter, pretty consistent. Yeah, I like the pressure of having the guy, runners in scoring position, having the game come down to me, and then being able to come through in that situation.
Man, you got to generate that same bat speed on the pitch that's away.
Clyde Metcalf is in his 33rd year as the Sailor head baseball coach, and he says it's a pleasure to coach someone like Brandon.
It's a pleasure. I mean, he's a hard-working young man, obviously an excellent baseball player. He's a 3-year starter for us as a catcher. Probably as good, if not better, student than he is a player. He's going to George Washington University, getting a lot of academic money. He's got a very bright future.
In Brandon's sophomore season, he became the starting catcher. He was expected to be the backup, but ended up catching almost every inning of every game. Looking back on it, he says it's the best thing that ever happened to him.
Oh, it was tough. It was tough my sophomore year. I mean, I struggled a little bit my sophomore year. I was kind of thrown into the wolves, just because the senior catcher he had gotten kicked off the team, and then I was kind of just thrown out there. But I mean, I think I stepped up by the end of the year. I think it's helped me out a lot. I mean, it kind of accelerated my growing process in the game.
He did get thrown into the fire. I think, going into our tryouts that year and stuff, we thought he'd be our backup catcher. Because of circumstances that were beyond all of our control, he ended up being our catcher and catching almost every inning that year. He probably wasn't physically or mentally ready for it at that time, but I think it's really sped up his growth, without question. And we're reaping the benefits of that now.
After graduation, Brandon is set to continue playing baseball at George Washington University in Washington, D.C.
I'm probably going to study biomechanical engineering, just because I'm a big math science guy. And then the thing that led me to GW was the location. I mean, it's in DC. It's a beautiful city. And then the coach there used to be the hitting coach with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then he's so knowledgeable about hitting. I had a good connection with him.
He's going to do a great job. I mean, I think he'll walk in and be a starter there. I think in the future he'll probably have an opportunity to play professional baseball. And you know, I think people in pro baseball look for guys like him that are going to excel, that are going to overachieve, and he's that guy.
Excel and overachieve. That's why Brandon works so hard on his game. And like most baseball players, Brandon's dream is to one day play pro ball.
Oh, my dream's to play big league baseball. I mean, it's pretty much every kid's dream that plays the game.
High school athletics help athletes achieve their dreams, and Brandon is no exception.
Oh yeah, baseball's helped me so much. I mean, it's helped me in life and school, just the stuff you learn, the morals of the game and stuff.
The Sailors will miss their quarterback on the baseball diamond, their catcher, Brandon Chapman. He always led on the field by setting the example for his hard work and his dedication. Reporting for Game On Profiles, I'm Shelby Shea.
All right, let's talk a little about this. He's going to go to college, biomechanical engineering?
I know, he's crazy smart. He's part of our ACE program, which is Sarasota High's gifted type thing.
Wow. Also a very good baseball player, and being able to balance both of them. And it was interesting because Coach said as good a player he is, he's a better student and person, and obviously if he's in the gifted program, that takes some balancing. Sarasota High, always a really good baseball team, and he's excelling in the classroom?
Right, definitely. It's got to take some skill and practice to be able to balance all that and social stuff, so he's a pretty impressive guy.
Maturity is something, because he talked about getting thrown into being a starter as a sophomore, and now he's a team leader, cleanup hitter, and he's also going to a very prestigious school.
Right, it's really impressive that he got to go to college for baseball and have such an impressive major.
George Washington University is in our nation's capital, is in Washington, D.C. He's hoping at one point to play professional baseball. And it was interesting because Coach Metcalf, who's seen a lot of people go to the major leagues, really thinks not only can he play pro ball, but he might even start as a freshman in college, which sometimes is unheard of.
Which absolutely, Brandon practices really hard. You can just see his work ethic, and he just puts himself all into the game. He's a hardworking guy.
You spent some time with him to do this story. And I know you don't know him that well personally. You guys both go to Sarasota High. But you really can see his success and how he's been able to kind of manage it based on his time management and some of the things he talked about, and where his success level maybe takes him in the future?
You can tell the other boys really look up to him, both as an academic leader and a leader on the baseball team. He's an upstanding guy.
Well, just a fine young man and a great job on the story, Shelby.
Thank you so much.
All right, we've got more Game On Profiles in a minute. Stay with us here on the Education Channel.
There you go. Good. Good.
That's Dillon Marksbury. He's a senior and a starting point guard. When he's got the ball in his hands, good things happen for the Venice Indians. I'm Liz Leone, and I'll have that story coming up on Game On Profiles.
Welcome back to Game On Profiles. I'm Maverick Johnson. For our next story, the Venice Indians have wrapped up their basketball season. The team finished with a record of 16-13 and made it to the second round of the state playoffs, the Sweet 16. One of their point guards is a senior, Dillon Marksbury. Dillon has worked very hard to make himself a better player and help his team. Dillon plays big and has become a big part of the Indians team. Our student reporter, Liz Leone, found out Dillon has big plans after he graduates, and he has really enjoyed his time playing for the Indians.
Dillon Marksbury joined a basketball team for the first time in the 6th grade, and he has been in love with the sport ever since.
It's been awesome for me. I met so many people that I wouldn't know today, and a lot of my friends are on the basketball team, so it's done a lot for me.
As a point guard and one of the team captains, Dillon has an important role on the court. That is to keep everyone motivated and to lead by example.
I'm more of like a lead by example. I'm not the one who like gets up in people's faces and try and get them pumped. I leave that to like all the other guys. More of like, I'm just gonna go out and do it and hopefully they follow after me.
Let's go skeleton against zone, coach. All zone stuff.
James Slayton is in his 4th year as the Venice Indians head basketball coach, and Dillon was one of his first players.
Yeah, he was actually in the group of the kids that, my first year getting here. It was that summer before the first year, so got to meet him as he was an incoming freshman. So yeah, he's one of the few guys that have been with me for 4 years. Here we go, baseline.
Dillon says that getting involved in basketball has helped him to stay out of trouble and has put him in position to achieve his lifelong dreams.
Kept me from doing bad things and helped me like realize what I want to do later on in my life, and just made me like all around better person.
Since his sophomore season, Dillon has hit some big shots.
And even that sophomore year, he was able to really make an impact, hit a couple big shots as a sophomore, and really that's kind of been his calling card. In big moments, in big games, he's kind of been able to hit those big shots. And he's had multiple game winners over his 3 years and hit big shots late in games, which is not always easy to do. And I think that says a lot about him, his character, that when it's the toughest part of the game, when it's winning time, you see his best.
Dillon plans to enroll at the State College of Florida after he graduates, and he wants to become a firefighter.
I plan on becoming a firefighter, and there's a fire academy where I live, but I have to be 18, so I gotta wait until my birthday. But yeah, that's what I look forward to.
There you go, nice shot, Dillon.
His coach says that Dillon has grown tremendously as a young man and as a basketball player since his freshman year, and is a huge part of the team's success.
It's pretty neat to see a young man and kind of mature, not only as a player but as a young man and as a student as well. And it's been pretty neat, and that's kind of one of the big reasons why I got into coaching, and is to have an impact on guys' lives, and he's a reason why we're successful right now. He's a big reason why. There you go, nice.
Playing for the Indians has been a big part of Dillon's high school experience.
Probably the guys, hanging out with them. It's always fun being around all my friends, having good times and stuff. I'm gonna miss that probably the most.
Ball side, pop up, run it again.
Dillon will leave the team this year after 4 years of hard work and dedication to the Indians. Basketball will always be a part of Dillon's life, wherever his career may take him. Reporting for Game On Profiles, I'm Liz Leone.
Good, there you go, nice.
All right, Liz, let's talk a little about Dillon here, because what the word that jumped him out watching the piece was, Coach said he's a leader. He even said he leads by example, though, not vocally. The word that came to mind was stoic. He seems very stoic. You know him a little bit. Tell me about him.
Yeah, I've known him for a couple years. He's really quiet. He comes off as quiet at first, but when you get to know him, he is really personable. So he does come off as quiet, but I guess stoic's a good word. He leads by example.
You're an athlete. He's an athlete, both going to school, so student athletes. Coach said one of the things that stood out to him was big shots, game winners. So someone who has been in pressure situations, you played in championship games, so you know what Coach is talking about. There's a special person that's able to really excel at those moments when everybody's watching you and it's kind of win or lose at that moment. And he seems to excel at that, which is rare.
Yeah, one of the only basketball plays I've ever really remembered was his sophomore year too. It was against Sarasota High. I think it was like one of the district games. I think he had just gotten pulled up to varsity. Maybe it was like earlier on the season, I don't know. But it was the last couple seconds of the game, and he had a three-pointer and won the game for them. It was just an incredible play. Like, I will never forget that play.
It's interesting because Coach has had him for 4 years, and I love hearing stories about how he's matured as a player, as a student, but really as a person. Is that something you've seen in that 4 years and the progression through his high school career as well?
Definitely. I think I've known him for about 3 years now, and he just seems very mature now. You can tell on the basketball court he is a leader. He leads by example. He's turned into a great guy.
Well, just a great job on the story. Fun to talk about it. Thanks, Liz. All right, we got more Game On Profiles in a minute. Stay with us here on the Education Channel.
That's Alissa Jackson, and she's a 4-year letterman and the leadoff hitter for the Lady Rams. And it's her job to get the team going. I'm Natasha Samuel, and I'll have that story coming up on Game On Profiles.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Game On Profiles. I'm Maverick Johnson. For our final story, the Riverview Rams softball team is winning games this season. Their leadoff hitter and center fielder is senior Alissa Jackson, and she is a big reason the Rams are doing well. Alissa is wrapping up her high school softball career and looking forward to playing in college. Our student reporter, Natasha Samuel, was at a recent practice and found out why softball is a big part of Alissa's life now and in the future.
What got you started playing softball?
I started playing baseball first, but I decided to make the switch once I got to 7th grade.
What was it like playing baseball with boys?
It was fun. We were younger, so in the competition, it was just fun, just being kids and playing.
How has baseball helped you get to play softball now?
It made me tougher playing with boys because they don't give you a whole lot of slack.
What makes you a leader on the team?
I like to keep people motivated and just see the team do well.
What's the best part of being a Ram?
I would say that we have a lot of fun and we like to get loud.
How do you balance being a student and being an athlete?
It can be difficult, but you have to really want to do both and do well in both.
How far would you like to take the sport?
Mostly through college, help get college paid for.
Describe yourself as a hitter.
I like to stay focused and disciplined at the plate.
What's it like to be the leadoff hitter?
It can be a challenge sometimes not knowing what the pitcher's throwing to other batters because you're the first one, but I like to kind of be like the scout for the team and give them a heads up on what they're going to see.
What are you going to miss most when you leave?
Mostly my friends, because all the fun we have. It's just great.
Where are you planning on going to school and what would you like to study?
I plan to go to the State College of Florida, and I'm not sure what I'm going to major in yet, but probably something on the area of sports.
How has softball helped you to go into college?
It's really prepared me in being disciplined as a person and really like to manage my time well and knowing how to get things done.
Starting off playing baseball has helped Alissa be more aggressive and take softball to the collegiate level. With having the best batting average this season for the Lady Rams, she contributes offensively as well as being quick in the outfield. What is it like to watch her play?
It's exciting because you know that she's going to come out and give her best, and she's an extremely talented player, so her performance, you know, she just gives everything she's got and she usually ends up being successful.
Since she's your leadoff hitter, is she the spark plug for your team?
Absolutely. She's definitely one of the ones we rely on to get everybody started, and that's one of the reasons why she hits in the leadoff spot. She has the highest batting average on the team right now. Last time I saw it was around 500. So she gets on base at least every other at bat. And for a leadoff hitter, you can't ask for anything more than to get on half the time and get everybody started. She puts the batters behind her in good position to help the team bring in runs. So she's absolutely a spark plug as far as getting us going on the offense.
She told us she grew up playing baseball. How do you think that helped her transitioning to playing softball?
Well, anytime girls are going to play a boy sport, there's always that girl-boy thing, that competition where, the girls want to show that they can play as well as the boys. So I'm sure that's probably a lot of where her attitude and the spunk comes from. She definitely wants to show that she's capable of doing what anybody else can do, and boy, girl, doesn't matter. She's going to show no matter who it is.
What should we expect from her in the future?
Well, I know she's going on to SCF to play next year, so I know she's going to take that same intensity and that same work ethic to SCF, so they're going to get an extremely good player that works hard and is going to give her best every day.
All right, let's talk a little bit about her background, because this is fascinating to me. She played with boys up until she really couldn't anymore. Confidence, extra confidence as you watched her in practice? What did you observe from that?
I think that playing baseball until she was in middle school really helped her be a lot more aggressive when she plays.
It's interesting because Coach used a couple of words to describe her, and I don't think you hear them a lot when it comes to student athletes. He said she has a lot of spunk and enthusiasm. And those are two words that you don't hear a lot when it comes to a student athlete. Do those words really seem to fit her, though, after spending time with her at practice?
Yes, I definitely think so. I think that the way she interacts with her team and the way she's a leadoff hitter, using her spunk and her attitude, it can really motivate the team and make them play better.
Intensity is something that came up as well. She seemed very focused and very driven. She seems like that just part of her personality. That's probably why she was successful playing with boys and probably why she's now a team leader. Is that what you would say?
I think that playing baseball helped her to be more like that, and I think that she definitely shows it in her hitting style and how she is on the outfield.
It looks as though something that maybe carries over into her life as well. It looks like the experience of playing with boys and succeeding athletics and academics in school is probably going to transcend as she goes into college as well. Is that your take?
Absolutely. I think she definitely pushes herself, and I could tell that in practice.
Great job on the story, and just fascinating to watch her success. Thanks for bringing it to us. All right, we've got more Game On Profiles in a minute. Stay with us here on the Education Channel.
I wouldn't have been at this ceremony if I hadn't been at this ceremony first. Unfortunately, nearly 30% of U.S. high school students aren't making it to graduation. And every one of us, every parent, every friend, and neighbor, has the responsibility to provide the support and encouragement they need to make it through. Because we all need to see a lot more of these pictures.
Welcome back to Game On Profiles. I'm Maverick Johnson. Before we wrap up this edition of our show, we're joined in studio with Rod Dragish, the Booker High School Athletic Director. Coach, let's talk a little bit about athletics and academics and how they kind of morph together at the high school level. You've been in education now 10 years, 5 as the athletic director. Just give me a thumbnail sketch, your overall view of student athletes and at the high school level, how important that combination is for kids?
Well, it's very important. Education, of course, is a foundation. If you don't have education, you're not going to be an athlete. You definitely need a 2.0 to play. And one thing that we did at Booker High School is we created an after-school tutorial. and that goes from 2:30 to 3:30, where what we do, we bring in the student athletes, football, baseball, softball, all the sports, and we're able to get a grant where we pay for a social studies teacher, math teacher, science teacher, and English teacher, pretty much all the core classes, to come in and work with our students on homework and test preps and that stuff. And we also have ACT and SAT help to help our students prepare for those tests.
It's interesting because athletics, sometimes people just look at the on-the-field accomplishments or the time that goes into practice and preparing for games. And you're preparing them really for life and to be a student. And that's something I also wanted to ask you about, because athletics, especially on team sports, you're learning to work with other people as a team and in life, whether you're going to go in the military, whether you're going to go to college and work on projects or go right into the workforce. Those are one of those things that you're going to have to learn to do. And if you've been a part of a team, especially in high school, you've probably already got some of those skills, right, Coach?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's the thing, you know, like I was saying, it lays a foundation. So you have the kids who working as a team, you know, freshman, JV, varsity, they grow together and they know the expectations that we set for them, and they abide by it.
One of the things too, I think, that helps with student athletes is confidence. We often will talk to kids or see kids when they're a freshman or a sophomore. They're a different person when they're a senior. And I know you've probably, in your mind, you've already got some examples popping to mind, but that's something you really can't even put a value on when it comes to monetarily. Kids and their confidence being part of a team and watching them grow and success build at the high school level in athletics.
Right. You know, and I'll tell you what, you know, I think, you know, freshman and sophomore, I think it's kind of somewhat of a cockiness, you know, at first. But the confidence grows, you know, confidence, you know, being part of a team, that's where your confidence comes. You know, our coaches do a great job building the kids up. And once the kids are built up in the classroom, on the fields, that's where the confidence comes. So we're graduating, our football team's graduating 19 seniors this year. And you can tell the difference from their freshman year to their senior year, how much confidence grew in each and one of them.
Athletics, academics, they go hand in hand. Coach, thanks for taking the time today.
Perfect.
Well, that'll wrap up this edition of Game On Profiles. We want to thank all of our student reporters for their fine stories. For all of us from Game On Profiles, we thank you for joining us. I'm Maverick Johnson. Game On.